You know what I mean?
I know what you
Even
mean.
though I'd watched so many movies in my life and I was crazy about them, you know, and I knew so many lines by heart.
So you had up until
And I had made movies with my sister as a kid with camcorder, you know, and I was crazy about movies. And I even, again, while I was in New Mexico, I took like a this real brief animation course, like stop motion with a film camera. And still, it just didn't dawn on me that someone made movies.
Right.
You know, to me it was just like I was just goofing around, whatever. Yeah, and it wasn't for another year, I guess. I went to Denver to go to animation school. I was like inching towards it, even though I had no idea that's where I was going. I was inching towards movies, you know, and motion pictures. No, I felt like an artist, you know, whatever that meant, and my picture of that didn't include filmmaking. You know, to me it was just like this business, you know. Movies showed up in the theater, and then eventually they showed up in the movie store, you know. And so, yeah, my identity as an artist I just hadn't, you know, assimilated, I guess, film as a medium, you know, because that's all it is. It's just one more medium instead of crayons or clay or, you know, paint. You're using film and light and subjects.
And, you know, I even had some of my art put up on display in high school and stuff like that. But then, you know, once I got into the world and got practical, I thought, no one becomes an artist. It's like not really important. So it's kind of brushed it down. So it came to the surface and I got laid off again. That's when it kind of came back up. And that's when I started really opening up to realizing I really want to be an artist. I want to create. But it was kind of hard because I went into a depression because I was still struggling with, you know, do I get a real job, a high-paying job, or follow my heart? And so I went to a deep depression because I had found a watercolor class I wanted to take, and I couldn't get myself to call and register for that class because I still had this inner conflict with who do you think you are to be an artist? You know, it's not practical. And so my inner child was kind of fighting with my adult, like, I want to paint, I want to create. It's like, no, that's not, can't do that. So couldn't get myself to pick up that phone. And I even had dreams of me giving away all my material goods and getting paintbrushes. That's all I wanted was my paintbrushes. Like, here, take this, take that, but give me my paintbrushes. So, and then I had this mystical experience that allowed me to make that decision. So once I made that decision to call and register for the class, it's like
sort of in the direction I wanted to go. So I went to animation school and was just totally miserable for like a semester, you know.
Really?
Yeah. Well, part of it was my first semester they didn't give me any art classes. All I had was like, you know, prerequisites. So I was taking like ethics, which was cool, you know, it was fun to learn, but I really wasn't making a lot of art. I was just drawing comic books at home at night on my own. I didn't know anyone in the whole city, and lived in a little apartment on the bad side of Colfax. You know, just cried a lot. Like almost every day I would come home and cry because I just felt like, what am I doing? Why am I here? I felt like an alien.
Wrong space.
Yeah. New semester came. It was like the first day of the second semester, and I still really didn't know what was up. You know, I just felt like definitely something was screwy, and I sat down in class, and I don't know. It was just like. It was just wrong. Like, I was just like, you know, I should not be here again. Like,
I had that feeling.
Yeah, I was just like, you know what, this is real bad that I'm still here. Like, I made it through the first semester, I finished it, got good grades, cool, but starting again, the second one, it just felt horrible. And I'm in the first class, and I'm listening to the guys talk about animation stuff, which really didn't interest me, and yeah, I just was like, I can't do this, and I stood up in the middle of class, and I walked out, went to the registrar, like a robot, you know, I was in like a daze. I just went to the registrar, and I was like, you know, I need a refund. Please give me my money back. And I got the money and I went home, and you know, I sound like a baby during this period, but I cried, of course, and And I called my dad up, you know, bawling, and he was just like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "You know, I dropped out of school, and this was my 4th school that I walked away from, and I just, yeah."
So then you start really feeling like some kind of failure.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
right?
feeling like a real failure. Yeah, I was like, you know, if I was seeing myself through my parents' eyes,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and thinking, God damn, what the hell's wrong with me? And again, my dad was just super supportive. He was just like, "Well, what do you want to do?" And I was like, "Well, I can't."
So one afternoon, before I took a nap, I decided to pray to God. I said, you know, I really miss being close with this person. So I'm going to turn this energy over to you, God. I release all my sexual energy, turn it over to you. Lay down, took a nap. And then I had this most incredible energy that came over me. It's almost like I had an out-of-body experience. I saw myself standing outside myself, and then I saw myself floating out in the parking lot. And I saw people getting in their cars, but I hadn't left the bed. So I'm like, my body's traveling all over the place. And then this incredible sexual energy came over me. It was very masculine energy, all encompassing. It's like it just took over me. It's like it's the most incredible energy I ever experienced. And so when I woke up, I felt this completeness, you know, I felt this wholeness. It's like my masculine and my feminine came together. And it's like, it was so powerful, but very sexual too. But when I woke up, I felt this completeness. It's like, you know what, now I can make that phone call. I can go call and sign up for my watercolor class. And that's when my son saw this light come over me. He says, "Wow, Mom, your depression not down anymore." It's like this light has come over you. So I picked up the phone, made my phone call, and it was a class with younger girls, like 9-year-old. I was like the oldest one in the class. And I painted with these little girls. And the teacher was Cuban. And that was my first watercolor class. That was the beginning of my lessons. Yeah, so I did that for us.
And it was as if I didn't even... Painting always was a little bit like, what'll I paint? What am I gonna do next? And it turned out pretty nice because I had wonderful color sense, or at least everybody told me that. Mm-hmm. But sculpture, I just started putting these things on, you know, just like, and I just, it was so natural. I can't tell you, it'd be like, if you watched your mother make biscuits forever and ever, and then you just started making biscuits one day and they came out perfect, you'd say, God, I guess I watched her long enough to know how to do it. But I just started, and of course I asked questions and I had to learn. But it was common sense. Sculpture, you know, don't put too much over here, it'll fall over. Don't put too much water on it, it'll do that. But I didn't have to be told every minute. It was so easy for me.
Close your eyes and dream of a landscape so serene, flowing sand beneath the star-filled sky. Spread your wings and fly away to a place not far away, in the corner of your mind. Look and you will find.
Like, I still wasn't really sure, like, what's my thing? You know, what should I be doing?
Right.
And it took basically having to start paying my own bills and realizing, you know, okay, I only have so many hours during the day and I only have so much money. And it was like a switch. Like I knew instantly.
And this is when the money started running low?
Oh yeah, yeah. When the inheritance ran out and I was facing like, oh, you know what, I have to start working. I have to start paying the bills. At that point, and it was just like a switch, what I liked. I mean, it was weird. It was like this weird vertigo. Like I still wasn't really sure, like, what's my thing? You know, what should I be doing?
Right.
And it took basically having to start paying my own bills and realizing, you know, okay, I only have so many hours during the day and I only have so much money. And it was like a switch. Like I knew instantly.
And this is when the money started running low?
Oh yeah, yeah. When the inheritance ran out and I was facing like, oh, you know what, I have to start working. I have to start paying the bills. At that point, And it was just like a switch. It was like once I realized my resources were limited, it became immediately clear what I wanted to do. Oh, well, I'm crazy about science fiction. I'm crazy about action movies. And, but also movies that, you know, have a real philosophy, explore a
I
philosophy.
dressed, designed a little while, I modeled, I tried to act, I did a lot of stuff up until, you know, in my 30s. And then I want to tell you something. We put all these clay things in a great big oven. And you know, if you have a bubble, or you put one piece of wet clay on top of another. Now here I had a pretty much a life-size torso from the neck to the crotch, I guess you could say, to that part. And I had this figure and boobs and everything figured out right, and it looked really nice. And then, but the next thing, it's all hollow, and you got to put it in, there's got to be enough air vents for it not to blow up. Well, when we opened up the kiln, everybody's had blown up mine, and their mine was just this nice little brown, naked terracotta body sitting there. And I went, well, in front of everybody, I said, well, I guess I'm a sculptor, like that. And I always laugh about that moment, because I was so surprised that it came out, because nobody else's came out of the kiln. Everybody's kind of fell over or melted or
It's like a
part
sign
blew
sort
off.
of, huh?
It was kind of like, yeah, you are. Now this is it. Go on. And man, I really, it was like a stamp on my forehead that said, I am a sculptor. But of course, I still paint and.
But that was like a pivotal moment.
So I finally took it out, and she loved it, and so she hung it. I'm thinking, wow. And I'm still thinking, oh, why? What did they see in my art? You know, I'm looking for all my mistakes and everything. And then the first time that happened, one woman came in and she said, you know, you're painting the goddess energy. And I didn't realize I was painting the goddess energy. And so I guess as I go back to that mystical experience, that must have been part of that energy that came through to help me paint my artwork, because a lot of it had a lot of sexual energy in it, a lot of creation and goddess, and just a lot of primitive type of art, which is probably part of my soul and who I was painting. So a lot of healing took place, and it really was my saving grace, really my creativity. It really helped me to stay sane.